you speak to us about young vocations to the priesthood and consecrated life? Is God still calling? Of course God is always calling. God calls us by reason of baptism to be saints, as I said before, to be holy. We're all called to be saints. We're all called to be holy. Maybe not saints recognized like the saints on the pictures, but nonetheless holy people here in order to be friends with God forever in heaven. So we're all called to be holiness. Within that, the church as an organized society has people who give witness to radical holiness. They leave everything to follow Christ. That's what Christ's invitation was. Leave everything. Leave your fishing boats. Leave your family. Leave your tax collector's table and come follow me. So there's some people who do that, and they take the vows of religion, poverty, chastity, obedience, in order to be, before the world, witnesses to Jesus Christ in a radical way. Their lives make no sense if Jesus doesn't exist. And so that's a call to consecrated life. And that's there to remind the rest of us what it means to be radically, at the root, a disciple of Jesus Christ. So we're very grateful to consecrated women and men who have made that sacrifice for the sake of the kingdom of heaven, so that they can live here as we'll all live in the kingdom of heaven. In the kingdom of heaven, nobody will have any money. There will be no violence or war. There will be no marriage or giving in marriage. There will be perfect conformity to the Father's will, perfect obedience. That's the kingdom of heaven. Well, consecrated people, men and women, live that life now, supposedly. We're all sinners. We all fail. Everybody does. But nonetheless, the witness is there. From within those who are willing to be celibate for the sake of the kingdom of heaven, the church calls priests. So you have to have a call to celibacy in our church in order to be a candidate for priesthood. So it's really two vocations. And then if you feel a call to priesthood, talk to a priest, eventually maybe go to the seminary, they'll help you sort it out. So at the end, you know you're called when I call you, or whoever my successor is. At the ordination ceremony, you're called by name, just as Jesus called the 12 apostles by name. You're called by name and you say, I'm present and I'm ready, and then you know there's a vocation, there's a calling. But before that, there's a calling in the heart, and that has to be discerned, it has to be figured out with the help of good people. So your parish priest, the seminary people, etc. Same thing when you join a religious community. They spend a lot of time before you take vows to figuring out, is the call real or isn't it? So we belong to a community. It's not just, I want to do this, so therefore I can do it. No, I want to get married. Well, you have to have a woman who will accept you to marry you. First of all, you can't get married. Or vice versa. I want to get married. Well, you need to have a husband. So it's the same thing. Our vocations are all social. So if you want to serve the church as a priest, the church has to say, okay, we think you can. If you want to serve the world as a consecrated religious community has to say, okay, we think you can. So vocations are always social. God calls, but we check. And if it works, it works. God still calls. God does not abandon us. He doesn't leave any of us on our own. Sometimes we don't hear the call because, as somebody said, it's a noisy world. And there's noise in our hearts. But God is always calling to special ways of life, to marriage, most people, that's how they become holy, but to vocations to, there are also vocations to consecrated life and priesthood and other vocations as well.